Okay, well, good evening, everybody. We're back together. This is our second podcast together with God, Guns, and Glencairns. So, just to introduce ourselves right off the bat, I'm Dean Bowman. That doesn't mean anything, but go ahead.
I'm Colton.
I'm Jared.
Rich Knowlton.
Will.
And we're going to cover all of those things: God, Guns, and Glencairns. We're going to start out tonight in Nehemiah, and this is just kind of a cool little thing we got going here. We've got 5 of us sitting around a table, and we're just going to go through and read the Bible. And it's what we call a Discovery Bible Group. And just to discover the Bible, just to read the Bible, and anything that jumps out at us, we're going to stop, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to keep going. And but anyway, Nehemiah, starting out in Nehemiah was a pretty godly man, and he was the king's cupbearer. So I was wondering earlier today, what kind of a cup did he have? I'm going to guess it was not a Glencairn.
Probably not. Nope.
Was it maybe a gold cup? I think gold was probably pretty prevalent back then.
Or could it have been a goblet?
Could have been a goblet made out of clay.
Stone,
Mhm.
clay,
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah, it just was something I kind of thought of. But anyway,
Skull of his enemies.
Nehemiah.
That's what I was just thinking.
What'd you say?
The skull of his enemies.
Oh, could be because well, they had a lot of enemies
Mm-hmm.
in the Old Testament. But anyway, he was the king's cupbearer, and the king was Artaxerxes. Almost sounds dinosaurish.
Mhm.
But anyway, he went to the king and he says, "Hey, if you found favor in me, I'd like to go back to Judea, and rebuild that wall around Jerusalem that had been torn down."
Mm-hmm.
And so he was granted that permission, and he used the people in Jerusalem to rebuild that wall. And what kind of impressed me most out of that was none of these people that rebuilt that wall were wall builders. They were not educated in doing that. And it talks about that in chapter 3. It talks about the high priest. It talks about goldsmith. It talks about perfumers. It talks about leaders of the district. So like governors probably,
Mm-hmm.
high up people. It talks about leaders several times. Goldsmiths several times. And then it talks about the merchants too of the stores that went out there and busted their knuckles to rebuild that wall. So it's pretty cool. We're just going to start in chapter 4, and we're going to just read one verse at a time. We're just going to go around the table. If you feel comfortable reading, guys, read. If you don't, just pass it on. But anytime you want to just, you have something to say or you have a question, I don't know that I have the answers, but maybe we can find them. So I'll just start with 4:1, the wall defended against enemies. And it says, "But it so happened, when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he was furious and very indignant and mocked the Jews."
And he spoke before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, "What are these feeble Jews doing? Will they fortify themselves? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they complete it in a day? Will they revive the stones from the heaps of rubbish, stones that are burned?"
Now Tobiah the Ammonite was beside him, and he said, "Whatever they build, if even a fox goes up on it, he will break down their stone wall."
That kind of reminds you of the wolf and the pig.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
I'm going to blow and I'm going to puff and I'm going to knock your house down.
Right. Blow your house down, right?
Yeah.
Hear, oh, our God, for we are despised. To turn their reproach, can't speak tonight,
That's all right.
on their own heads, and give them as plunder to a land of captivity.
Do not cover their iniquity, and do not let their sin be blotted out from before you, for they have provoked you to anger before the builders.
Yeah, I think we know whoever this Sanballat guy is, and he was pretty mad that he's going to rebuild this wall. I think he was probably wanting to take over Jerusalem at one time, probably. And
Kind of sounds that way.
Walls
Yeah.
make it real difficult to get across.
Yes.
I have no idea how tall this thing was or how long it was, how big that thing was around Jerusalem. What'd you leave off for?
6.
Six.
You're on
Yep.
6.
Good, Chris. I'm
You're
6.
six.
Okay, 6. So we build the wall, and the entire wall was joined together up to half its height, for the people had a mind to work.
Now it happened when Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, and the Ammonites, and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were being restored, and the gaps were beginning to be closed, that they become very angry.
And all of them conspired together to come and attack Jerusalem and create confusion.
Nevertheless, we made our prayer to our God, and because of them, we set a watch against them day and night.
Then Judah said, "The strength of the laborers is failing, and there is so much rubbish that we are not able to build the wall."
And our adversaries said, they will neither know nor see anything till we come into their midst and kill them and cause the work to cease. So this is the enemies wanting to attack
Mm-hmm.
Nehemiah and his workers. And somehow Nehemiah found out about that they were plotting a plan against him. And it's pretty cool. He just didn't have any worries
Yeah.
because he knew God was behind him.
Mm-hmm. So it was when the Jews who dwelt near them came that they told us 10 times, from whatever place you turn, they will be upon us.
Therefore I positioned men behind the lower parts of the wall at the openings, and I set the people according to their families, with their swords, their spears, and their bows.
So they're ready. They're ready,
Ready
for
for
a war.
battle.
Mhm.
They're tucked in with the workers.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that last week too, about what if they had made guns at this time?
Right.
What would they have?
They wouldn't have any bows, that's for sure.
No, or spears.
Yeah, you don't bring
Yeah.
them kind of
Well-
to a gunfight.
I mean, you'd want to keep them things on hand.
Well,
'cause
for sure.
you get close quarter combat.
Yeah.
turns,
Well, yeah.
turns south pretty
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
any advantage is something you want to have.
Mm-hmm.
I would think, anyways.
And I looked and I rose and said to the nobles, to the leaders, and the rest of the people, do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, great and awesome, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses.
And it happened, when our enemies heard that it was known to us and that God had brought their plot to nothing, that all of us returned to the wall, everyone to his work.
So it was from that time on that half of my servants worked at construction, while the other half held the spears, the shields, the bows, and wore armor. And the leaders were behind all the house of Judah.
Those who built on the wall and those who carried burdens loaded themselves so that with one hand they worked at construction and with the other hand held a weapon.
How would you like to work like that?
Talk about
I
divided
feel
focus. Man.
I mean,
Right?
it'd be a comfort, I feel like, in the long run.
And also a
Which
hindrance.
is your place of opportunity or employment now flexible enough that you could potentially have something like that for a time that you really needed to have something to help
Yeah.
protect yourself or others
For sure.
in
Yeah.
that case. And a lot of workplace employment, that's a no way.
Oh, for sure.
No way.
Yep.
I would just imagine in this reference, you're literally working with one hand and defending with the other, which would be in and of itself exhausting. But imagine the constant struggle of which one's more important.
Right.
How do I do this? And I forgot about this.
What's
I
better,
need to
get the wall up or to get it?
Right. Yeah. You got to do.
I can
You
see
believe
that.
in both. Clearly, that's why you're
For sure.
moving stones and holding spears. But
Right.
Boy,
Shout
that's-
out to the Navy here with the CPs, right? No.
that's got to be a tough one to just hold in your mind constantly the whole time you're working. Which one were we?
18. You're
18, yes, sir. Every one of the builders had his sword girded at his side as he built, and the one who sounded the trumpet was beside me.
Then I said to the nobles, the rulers, and the rest of the people, the work is great and extensive, and we are separated far from one another on the wall.
I don't know how many gates were in that wall, but it talked about the priest right off the bat. The priest went and started building the gates,
Mm-hmm.
and
I mean, you'd want gates space.
Oh, for sure.
Pretty frequently, just for people to travel
Mhm.
through. I feel like.
But it's kind of cool that however how far apart they are working, you know, they might be working away from each other, or they might all be working at the same thing and kind of just constantly moving, but they're a distance from each other, so they use trumpets to call
Yep.
should there be a problem. So
Wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us.
So we labored in the work, and half of the men held the spears from daybreak until the stars appeared.
At the same time, I also said to the people, let each man and his servant stay at night in Jerusalem, that they may be our guard by night and a working party by day. So they were getting no breaks whatsoever.
Hot racking it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So neither I, my brethren, my servants, nor the men of the guard who followed me took off our clothes, except that everyone took them off for washing. That's
As you should.
a steady working.
Yeah.
They never undressed. They were prepared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were ready at all times
Mm-hmm.
I'm not scared.
and not scared.
Oh,
No.
Why they're building
I mean,
with people attacking.
Nehemiah kept telling
That's
them,
crazy, huh?
don't be afraid.
Right.
did they touch on that? To
Yeah.
not to be
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Earlier
Says our
in the-
Lord will be with us and help us fight.
Mm-hmm.
You missed that one?
It said, remember.
Verse 20, wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will
Yeah.
fight for us.
sure, right, but
So-
that doesn't say that they're not scared. I
Oh,
feel like
Yep, that's fair.
Well, I get that.
as
they
a
still
person,
could-
I would be terrified.
Yeah.
Would I do it? Oh, for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean,
But I think Nehemiah put a lot of confidence in him that, just do your
Yeah.
job.
I only go so far,
When you fight, God's going to be behind you.
right? I'd still be terrified.
Oh,
That wouldn't
be
stop
too.
me by one bit. It's me or you, but
Mm-hmm. I guess that's a good point to bring up.
yeah, I'd be shaking my boots.
Yeah.
See a wall of people coming at me.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
That would definitely be too. Mm-hmm.
There's so many chapters in especially the Old Testament that if you didn't go down the right path with God, He just opened up a hole, you fall in it,
Mm-hmm.
bring a bunch of snakes out there, bite you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
snakes
he
in
does
the
say,
hole,
do
throw you
not
in
be
it."
afraid.
Yep.
Do not be afraid. Remember the Lord behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So trying to class is pretty much a pep talk, right?
Mhm.
It's
Right.
like just like in sports, because
Yeah, that's what I got out
fight
of
for your
both of it.
sons, your brother,
Yep.
your brothers, your daughters, wives, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Pep talk.
Yeah, let's see what that's number 14.
Yep.
Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, great and awesome, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I certainly would.
Oh well, yeah.
I'd be nervous as
Oh
all
yeah,
get out, though.
yeah,
That doesn't mean they aren't scared. You're right.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, just because somebody tells you not to be scared doesn't mean you're not going to be scared.
Right.
Well, there's a lot in there that we can apply to our lives today.
Oh, absolutely.
In that last verse, number 23, keep clothed, be prepared, be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of speaks to me as to keep your armor on.
Oh, yeah.
Put on the whole armor. Put on all the armor of God.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was reading in Deuteronomy today. No, it's Ephesians. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a little
right.
late.
Get it right, Dean.
Yeah, I was reading in Deuteronomy.
Colton was with you.
Sure. I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look where my tab is here. It goes down here to Deuteronomy, and then I read a little bit in Psalms, and I got over here to Ephesians. And when we're talking about in this chapter about putting on the whole armor of God,
Mm-hmm.
that's what Ephesians talked about today. The breastplate of righteousness. Shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. The shield of faith that would quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. The helmet of salvation. The sword of the Spirit, which is the sword of God.
Mm-hmm.
And then open your mouth boldly and try to talk to other brothers about that,
Mm-hmm.
to other people.
And what that means is don't be nervous about going up to somebody and trying to preach a little bit of gospel to them. Because I think that we're all that way. Like no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, it's still nerve-wracking to go up to somebody that you've never talked to before and be like, "Hey, have you had the word of God whispered in your ear a little bit?"
Well, even if you know somebody and
Well,
you're
true,
comfortable
for
talking with
sure.
them, sliding that subject
Oh,
into conversation doesn't always go
It always
exactly
works.
smooth.
You're right about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think the more we get into this and the more we act like Jesus, the weirder people are going to think we are.
Oh, 100%.
And so be bold.
Mm-hmm.
But show them joy, show them love, show them peace.
Well,
Maybe they'll want to walk that same path.
The good news is I feel like the generations have shifted to more weirder aspects. So maybe I mean some of the things that people are doing these days are crazy. So
maybe they'll lash back in the right direction.
yeah,
Everything's an ebb and flow in a cycle.
yeah. And I'm seeing a lot of information come across that's looking like the generation below mine is starting to come back away from some of those things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did I talk about that last week on Fox News? One of the commentators on Fox News was talking about men
I
nationwide
think you did talk about that last
getting
week.
together and talking about the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's making a big impact on the whole country. About everybody's wanting to come back to Christ. The country was founded on.
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of things is that it's getting taken out of too many things as the country goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really getting taken out of everything. I mean, thank God in our school districts they're still at least saying the Pledge of Allegiance and they I don't think they do a morning prayer as much as what they used to, but I do know that the Pledge of Allegiance is in there, and a lot of our teachers still have a more of a Christian value than anything else. So I think that's a good
hope that
part.
continues. I hope that grows.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, talking about putting on the whole armor of God, and in this day and age, we've kind of thrown our swords and our spears and our stuff away, and we went to guns.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
You guys don't have a sword in your house?
I have a lot of custom knives.
I don't have a gun.
I found myself buying custom knives from custom knife makers that are just up and coming, you know?
No, that's okay.
I'll buy them if they look pretty cool on some of the quieter guys just to help support them, build the trade, you know?
Yeah.
Because like leather work is a dying art.
Oh, for sure.
Bladesmith thing.
Yep.
So yeah,
that was one of the ones I chose I wanted to support. So I probably have an inordinate amount of knives at the house that I probably have forgotten half of them. I'm not the guy with 7 knives on me. I got one haggard pocket knife and that's it. But
open a drawer. Oh, whoa! Hey, I was looking for that.
Right. Yeah. That's not exactly a sword, but
pocket knife. Really?
Oh,
we can fix that.
Yeah.
Pretty lickety.
I got a couple at the house if you want one. Be happy to give it to you.
I opened the closet the other day and a machete fell out. I was like, well,
I guess there's that. That's the most Wyoming thing I've heard in a long time. Oh, that's awesome.
Did you put it back?
I did. You're dang right I did. Well, not before chopping at least half the door off.
Well, you
got to stay proficient.
For sure, yes. Yeah. And it just surprised me. I opened the door and all of a sudden this thing fell out and I was like, oh, yeah, I should probably find a new spot for that. And it went right back where it was.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect because then you just throw the door open, put your hands out.
Yeah,
oh,
that's like a magic trick.
It is.
Shazam! You're dead.
I like that. Yeah.
My buddy bought a brand new pickup recently, and it's a nice GMC AT4. It's a nice truck, and it was brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And in his old truck, he upgraded to a 2500 from a F-150, and that F-150 was a lemon. We always had a hard time about having it.
That was a Ford.
Yeah. And it was his hunting truck, so we always drove that thing around in the woods and, banging
What
around.
did
And
you
it's
find
haggard.
in there?
Well, we always had this machete. That's what made me think of it. In the passenger seat, right against like that little halfway up the console pocket.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
He had this machete, this cheap machete with like a little 3-inch throwing knife tucked on the outside of the sheath. I don't know where he got this thing. He probably paid $10 for it. Yeah, probably Walmart.
Probably.
Yeah. So it was always kicking around, and I usually rode shotgun, so I'm always stepping on the thing or kicking it out of the way or putting it back up in the pocket or tracking that damn 3-inch knife down in the
making sure you
make sure I don't lose it or stab myself or it fall out and stab somebody else or go in his own tire and ruin our trip.
Right.
Something silly. And I'll be darned if I didn't climb in that $100,000 pickup and have to kick that stupid machete out of the way. I was like, my man, least I can count on you, bud.
Although it's that
I am never unarmed in the passenger seat of this truck. I've always got some Merca right there, free hand. Yeah, machetes always crack me up because around here there's no trees and bushes.
for sure.
There's very little use for it.
Oh yeah.
We use it for waterfowl to blind in, grass in the blinds and stuff. So we're cutting the bottom of dead grass and whatnot. So it's lightly handy, but we're right next to the river, and it's a very specific situation. So yeah,
We went hunting in Virginia, and I had one packed with us.
I wish we'd had a machete.
Oh, we would.
I didn't know if we was going to get out of there so tangled up in all them vines and
Yep.
man,
That was some thick crap we got ourselves into.
Mhm.
I know why they hunt in deer stands now. You don't go walking through that stuff. You wait for that.
Well, you can't
Well,
go
even if
walking
you try
around
to walk,
there.
you only get 30 yards
Yeah.
to see at best.
Yeah.
You get an opening and you get a 30-yard shooting lane.
Or you get an opening. Somebody else is sitting at the other end. It's all public land.
Three orange hats sitting
Yeah.
on the curve of it. Yeah, and you're on the wrong end. Yep.
Or you're trying to hunt deer, and some fella's in the soy field hunting doves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that
I
guy?
remember that
He was
guy.
just sitting out there blasting the sky, deer and higher, looking at him
He
like,
was with
what's he?
4 other hunters, and the other hunters never did shoot once, and this guy's out there shooting this up a storm, and we're like, what's he shooting?
Never did see any
Just for
birds.
fun.
Must have been.
It's coming right
I'm gonna
for
shoot
us.
something. There's nothing out here. I'll shoot in the air.
Just
Whatever.
making it up.
That reminds me of 2 years ago. I was bow hunting elk, and we're walking down the old logging road that's closed, and all of a sudden there's this dude that rides by on a pedal bike with a shotgun, and I'm like,
I like the way you party, brother.
where are you
That's an
going?
idea, man.
So we
Dang.
stopped, and he goes, oh, yeah, this is for grouse. And then, 15 yards up, boom, 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 boom. I was like, oh, turn around. We ain't going there no more.
Yep.
That was,
Like, dude, this is the Elkwood, right? Like, get out of here.
I couldn't
Bring a
believe
BB
it.
gun. That's what we do.
A 22 something.
Yep.
Them grouse, they'll walk right in front of you. And
I got a
scare
video
the
on my
living
phone. I
crap
almost
out of
kicked
you.
3 of them last year.
Oh, they're so loud when you're like,
Oh, yeah.
it's dead quiet too, and you're just walking along, and then when
Yep.
you're ducking for cover.
Mhm.
Oh,
My buddy and I were hiking, and we were right on the edge of this new growth, like 20, 25 foot
Mhm.
pines, in a new growth plant where they just clear cut it some years ago. And we're in the old, and so we're walking clean, but the trees are, every once in a while, there'll be one that's 20 foot right there next to you, My buddy's walking out in front. I'm usually pulling tail and walking. All of a sudden, just like you described, man, just boom, blows up right above his head.
so
I look up, and that damn thing was like 1.5 feet from his head, and he just crouched down to a knee and was looking. I mean, it took him by surprise. And of course, his nephew was right behind him. His nephew, flinched and stepped off to the side and didn't know what was going on. He got his bearings and looked at his nephew, and they both kind of laughed. And I'm just sitting back there smiling, and he's like, he points at me. Don't you say a darn thing. We kept going.
So what do we have here?
What do we have there?
So this first one, these are all unloaded, just so this is clear. And then this one, I'll show it when I pick it up, but trust me, it's unloaded for now. So this is
what do you mean for
Springfield
now?
Hellcat.
what's that?
What do you mean for it's unloaded for now? Are we loading it tonight? Or?
Well, when I bring it back home, I'll put bullets back in it. That thing goes on my hunting trousers and stays that way. So this Springfield Hellcat, I believe this is 9mm.
Yep.
Nice little pistol. I've actually got one of these. They have like a greenish color as well, and they've got a pro version that's optics ready and a couple different versions. But this is a really nice little pocket pistol. Probably doesn't fit a hand like your size.
I wouldn't think so.
Be tough to grip in that regard. But
Great
It's a
for
nice little
concealed
pistol.
carry.
empty chamber, if you can see. Try and show that a little bit. Empty in there, empty in here. So the thing I like most about this pistol, I have small hands, so it works better for me.
Sure.
But
Why do
the
you
way
keep
they,
looking at me?
because you have giant hands compared to me.
For real.
You are the contrast to my existence. So the way they etched all this and knurled it and all that stuff, even with a small grip, it's uncommonly comfortable to hold on to. It's got grip in the right spot. So if you're a person who rests your pointer finger here, they've even got a spot there so you can feel it without looking. So if it's something that you quick draw, quick grip, it's pretty comfortable to get a hold of. When you have habits that leave a pointer finger right there, it settles right there. You can find it home, no problem. Trigger's pretty comfortable. Built-in safeties, indicators, sights are pretty handy. All the different things. So
I think
now
the only safety that has
so-
on it, the trigger.
trigger safety. Yep. Yeah, it's a pocket pistol. It's like a Derringer for you.
So
For real.
just so everybody can see, literally, he was not lying about giant hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the bad
you would
thing.
need a super extended mag for me to.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. The bad thing about
I believe
big
it comes
hands,
with a 15 round too.
13.
13?
Well, 12 rounds in the mag, and then
Yeah.
12 plus
one
1.
in the chamber.
Well-
13, 12 plus 1.
12 plus 1.
Is that what it says?
What's
Sorry,
that one say?
13 plus
13
1.
plus
Yeah,
one.
I don't mean to be that guy, but it's literally.
there you go.
We'll go ahead and be that guy. I got big shoulders. I'll take it. But
13 plus 1, 14 rounds.
yeah,
You
for
carry
being a
this
small
little gun.
pistol, that's high capacity.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that little itty bitty. And that thing's going to be comfortable no matter where you put it.
Yeah.
Like as far as concealed carry, you can.
Mm-hmm.
This is the gun we was talking about last week.
Yeah.
It was the gun I carry when I go to church.
Yep. I keep it in the front pocket of my vest.
Mhm.
And I already got a belly, so people expect it to be there. So
Yeah.
then I just have that tucked in there, and nobody thinks the difference. They just think I'm extra fat, and it works perfect.
Mhm.
So I like it quite a bit. And it's
I like
zip,
these sights.
right there.
a
Yeah,
lot.
that-
The only thing I have against this one is this sight glows
Yeah.
in the dark, the front one, and the back one doesn't.
Yeah,
And if you're shooting it at night,
yeah,
you see the front sight,
Mhm.
and you don't know which way you have it unless
Yeah.
you've got a really good.
yeah. You
know,
gotta be
unless
real
you
proficient.
Unless you and your firearm are 1-on-1, and you just
Mhm.
automatically know where.
I
to shoot.
will give it that I do like the sight system better on this than a Glock.
Yep.
Especially factory sights.
Yeah. These are all
I got it.
interchangeable.
Yeah, I got it.
There's
I got to give it to the Hellcat right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty lightweight. I mean, you
Oh,
throw
for sure.
14 rounds in that thing, and it finally has a little bit of weight to it. The balance is for a small, compact pistol like that. It's pretty comfortable balance.
Mm-hmm.
This one has a little hole in the top up here that you
Yep.
can look down in there. To
Chamber
see that-
indicator.
Yep.
Yep.
See if it's got something chambered in it.
Yep.
See, and
It
I was
also has
actually,
a sidebar too. If you're
Yep.
a
Tactile
Fuel.
guy. Yep.
tactile feller, yeah.
and I was really in between that and that Shield Plus for my wife.
Mhm.
And I'm glad I went the Shield Plus because I can throw the extended mag in that one,
Mm-hmm. And shoot
and
it
it
too.
fits perfectly
Yep.
in my
I'll mess
big
with it.
hands.
Yeah.
And the
That's all right.
triggers are actually really nice on the new Pluses too. Those Shield Pluses.
I don't think I've shot a Shield Plus.
Really?
I'd like to.
Oh, I
But
have one.
We'll have to bring some pistols out.
Oh,
trade
for
up.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sights on that are still not as good as that one either because but they are better than the Glocks though because they're steel.
Yeah. I actually found that I like that half circle with the
Mhm.
tiny circle front sight. I thought it was going to be just another sight, but
You put it back.
when I started using
Or
it
break it.
and drawing it and pulling it up, it
No,
really
it's really easy. You pull it back, you lock it, you flick that lever.
takedown.
Yeah.
Then you release that, pull the trigger.
Oh, that's right. The trigger.
Triggers.
That's
the
what
catch.
screwed me
Yep.
up.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, you
And then
cocked
from
it,
there,
so you got to release the
Yeah.
sear.
I mean, I get it, but
Yeah.
take it out,
Still
take the
unpleasant.
barrel out.
Look at that tiny little barrel.
Clean it up.
Uh,
That little guy, you ain't shooting 100 yards of that fella accurately.
no.
So take down something that, if you're looking at firearms, the simplicity
Mhm.
of firearms anymore and taking them apart,
They're getting pretty slick with it.
Oh,
something you should
Yeah.
really probably
From
look
the-
at.
The 1911 days where you're like, how many tools do I have and how many
I
levers?
got my Allen key
Yeah.
and I got my wrench pressed here and
You got 2 knuckles nicked
My-
off at least, and you're
Yeah.
still trying to go after
get
it.
your safety glasses
So-
in case you lose that spring. I bought that was the first firearm I ever purchased was a 1911
Yeah.
pistol,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting in my buddy's kitchen at his dining room table, and I'm taking it apart because we went shooting, and so I've got it and I've got it depressed, and my thumb slips right off of that spring, and it goes straight in the other room, and I spent 45 minutes looking for that stupid thing.
Yep.
Man, what a pain in the butt that was. But I love that gun.
Yep. I
That's
don't
quite-
have any 1911s for just that reason.
Mm.
I just
Yeah. Takedown sucks, but
I got burnt on them, and I like to keep all my stuff clean. Like this is as dirty as this one gets. I like to keep my stuff pretty clean. So taking it down and putting it back,
Mhm.
I just was
It's
like,
a lot of work.
nah. There's too many other pistol options.
Yeah.
I'll just, they're great pistols. They're great to carry. They're great to shoot. They're great for personal protection. They're great for service. Like, no hate on the gun itself. Just, it's
takedown.
not my flavor of Kool-Aid.
Hard
That's
to
all.
conceal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's full frame, big
Mhm.
fella. So speaking of which, big fella pistols. You want to go ahead? This one's
Oh,
also
go
empty.
for it, man. You know what you're doing.
I'm not a Glock guy, so I'll let you speak the names
Thank
instead.
goodness. I knew we would go long.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a Glock 17. This is a full size, like you just said, 9mm. It's a 4.5-inch barrel. What I really like about the Glock is that it fits my giant hand absolutely perfectly. Yes.
That's because it's a full frame.
Yes, exactly. The sights on this gun, they do suck. Like, it's just a plastic, and they break if you get too violent with them.
But
yeah.
you can put it in the dishwasher.
You could. You sure could.
That's
Yes.
the only credit I'll give you.
When you're fighting people in the pool,
Yeah.
it'll shoot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I told Dean I was going to bring up. Is that the one thing that I do like about a Glock is you can throw it against the wall, you can bury it in concrete, you can do whatever you want with it, and it's going to shoot. Unlike a Kimber.
Yeah.
You throw a Kimber in any of those scenarios and pack that thing full of dirt like you can this Glock, and it's not going to shoot.
Yeah.
Because the tolerances are so high on it. They're such a tight tolerance because they're
On the better Kimbers, yeah.
correct. Yeah, they're a better made gun than what this is.
Mhm.
This is your regular Tupperware gun, like he was just saying. You could throw it in the dishwasher. Yeah, you sure could.
It's a service pistol.
Exactly. Yeah. What's really nice about a Glock though is that there is so much aftermarket stuff that you can do to this thing.
Yeah. It's like the Jeep of pistols.
It really is.
Yep.
Yeah, and I
So it
mean
always
that's
breaks down? Is that what
that's
It's
like
really
this
expensive
little,
to fix.
this little flashlight. It's
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking $80 for a really nice light.
Mm-hmm.
You can't beat that. You know. I mean, and these work really good for a home defense.
Yeah.
Like a full size is perfect
Yep.
for home defense.
I won't say it's not a nice pistol. It's just not my flavor. That's all. Just
Yeah.
like 1911s
Oh, for
aren't my
sure.
flavor. Glocks generally aren't my flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice pistol, and they're great to have. And there's how many
Mm-hmm.
law enforcement officers use
Oh,
them,
for
carrying
sure.
and proving
Still,
that they're good pistols.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
proof's in the pudding. Hard to argue with
Mm-hmm.
success.
Again, only trigger safety on that. I hate
Yep.
safeties.
Only trigger
Okay.
safety.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yep. Well, on pistols.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I do have night sights for it. I just have not put them on there
I
yet.
like the Western look style gun.
Yeah.
That little
Cowboy
light though,
gun there.
that's
Yeah.
a pretty bright little light.
That's what I need to go get chicken eggs with. And if I find a coon or a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
wild cat out there,
Yeah.
just let her have it.
It's definitely well worn. You can tell by
Oh yeah.
the slide release here.
Well,
Yeah.
look at mine. I mean,
Been carried.
that's my carry gun. If you want to
Yeah.
keep a gun nice looking, you don't carry it.
You don't carry it,
for
right.
sure. You
Oh,
leave
yeah.
it in the safe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned with that one that that's
You
got
were right.
hundreds of miles on it, and it still looks brand new.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the one I carry every day at work, I don't know if there's any moving
Still no?
left on that thing.
No thanks.
no problem. So the last one is one I brought. This is you carry that one to church. I carry this one to the woods. So this is a Ruger Vaquero 45 long Colt. I can spin it this way and you can see that they're all empty.
And there is nobody back behind the camera.
Yep.
Just so y'all know.
So this is a 45 long Colt Ruger Vaquero single action. So if you're not sure about single action, I can't just sit here and pull the trigger and the hammer come back and it rotate and fire. You have to draw the hammer and then fire it. So that's a innate or built-in safety by design, right? So I used to carry a Springfield XD in 40 on my hip when I was riding my horses and all through the mountains. And what I found was, like I mentioned before, I like to keep everything clean. And I think I might have mentioned this last podcast,
did,
so
yeah.
forgive me if I repeat this, but I just spent too much time cleaning this and it got dirty to the point where I was worried about its dependability.
Mm-hmm.
True or not, that was a doubt in my head.
Yeah.
So I grabbed this guy because I know this thing, no matter how dirty it is, it will shoot. There's like 3 parts involved in
Yeah.
making this thing go bang. So
Revolvers are very dependable.
yep, it works. And then with the fact that it is a single action, I don't have to think about it when it's strapped to my hip about catching it on a stick or anything else, and it being in a position that I don't know about.
Mhm.
It's pretty heavy to draw that hammer back and you hear it click and there's no secrets with this gun. You're not being sneaky with this guy. It's a full thing.
It's
So-
definitely the prettiest gun.
Right.
sitting out here.
Well,
Oh man, the little handles, bro.
I didn't make the little handle, man. That's just
I can't.
Western style
Like-
revolver style.
How,
You got to remember, people 100 years ago were about half your size. I was you
No,
to them
no.
100 years ago.
Sasquatch has been around forever, bro.
Allegedly.
I ain't never seen Sasquatch with a gun.
Right.
You
But have you seen
yourself
it without a gun?
Yeah.
You do.
For sure.
No kidding. Jeez. I'm scared enough seeing with a stick.
Holy
I was
smokes, he's
scared
got
of
one.
gun.
Yeah, then he talks to you. Yeah, I stole this off Cowboy about 600 years ago.
Hold still, wife.
Yeah.
You got any powder?
That is a pretty gun, though.
So
One
this
thing
gun
about-
I like, it's a 45 long Colt. So that's it's about the size of my little finger of a
Yeah.
round, and it's the casing and bullet is probably this big, 200 and some grains. It's a pretty stout fella. And when you fire that thing, I bet you it kicks just as much as this little guy here. Because it's got the stout weight and the way it's balanced and the handle positioning. And, the barrel's not much higher than your hand as it is on, probably that Hellcat's a better example. So shooting that pistol is actually really comfortable.
Yeah.
But there is no adjustment to those
Right.
sights. And
No
the rear
adjustment,
sight
yeah.
is a reference and the front sight is a
Yeah.
shark fin.
Mhm.
So you're guessing on the altitude. You could just about put little hash marks on the back of that front sight for elevation cues. So you're not sharpshooting with that thing. But I carry it for mountain lions, bears, and then if I ever have a horse go down that
Mhm.
goes down hard, I don't want to have to kill it with a stick or a pocket knife.
Right.
So I carry it for that reason as well. So when I pull that trigger, I want one to do the job. So some
Yeah.
people say, oh, well, you could have 18 rounds with this guy or 14 rounds with this guy. And, I'm not carrying it for self-defense in a gun battle in the mountains.
Right.
So
What's that, 6?
5 rounds.
5.
Yeah. So I'm carrying 5 rounds of every bit I can get with every trigger.
So let me ask you this then, because me and Dean talked about this on a different podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What about a 10 mil?
I'm a big fan of 10 mils.
Big fan.
Yep. Big fan of 10 mils. 10 mils are the improvement to a 40 that I wanted to see without having to go to
Well-
the short fat guy that is a 45 ACP.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've been told, I don't own a 10 mil, full disclosure,
I don't either.
but I've been told that 10 mils are good for bears because of the
They are.
velocity.
Mhm.
So you can punch a skull plate
That's
with a
my
10 mil.
favorite style
Is
right
it?
there.
like I brought up in
Westerns.
the
Yeah, and they go in blued and wood as well, and then they also have like synthetic appearances and stuff. Yeah, so I'm a blued and wood kind of guy, which is that's this Henry here. So this one, it was an opportunity for me to get a hand on it, and they were like, "Yeah, you can have that if you want." Yes, sir. So I got a really good deal on that. That's why it's fancy. It's probably the most fancy gun I own as far as looks goes.
Well, sure is pretty.
Yeah, it's got pretty all wrapped up.
It sure does.
So this one as well. There's nobody on that end.
Yeah, just
So that one's empty as well.
bloopers.
So this, no, I don't need it. I was planning to leave it out.
Oh,
So
okay.
that way we can handle it and not have to worry about it. Because there's, it's not like a magazine.
Oh,
or anything
for
else.
sure,
So
yeah,
if you
yeah.
pull that out, there's no pressure to load around. So,
Right.
this is a Henry lever action 38 357. So you can fire like the pistols from last week, Rich. There was a 38 and 357 as well. You can fire them both.
Right.
This is the rifle chambered the exact same way. So you can fire 357 Magnum out of this, or you can put little 38s and fire those things as well. Same as the pistol that we had talked about before. So this rifle I bought brand new, which is one of the few. And it's traveled miles and miles in my scabbard on my horse and doesn't look like it. Now, granted, I clean it
Must be a
after
nice
every season,
scabbard.
but it is. I've got a really good leather maker. So the scabbard's still rough on the inside. So it's almost
kinda
like,
soft.
yeah, exactly. It's almost like a fleece,
yeah.
it's still wearing. So once it gets broken in, it gets a little harder on the inside. You get a little dirt and dust in there. It'll start grinding on your guns. But for right now, I've got a pretty nice scabbard. So I'm very thankful for that. There's a lot to be thankful for in that regard. But this rifle I bought with the intent to buy a matching pistol so I could carry a single ammo in the woods. Turns out it didn't play that way, but I don't hate this rifle. And when I take it in the woods, I load it with 357s, and when I play with it at the house, it's 38s, and no matter what I load with it, it's pretty tight at 100 yards with open sights. So it's a fun little rifle. And then side note, I actually made this, and it's fit exactly to me. So this is a one single piece of cord. So if I'm ever out there and need it, this is almost like 200 feet of 550 cord. That's
Nice.
not
How long did that
gutted.
take you to?
Oh, I don't know, man. It was a while.
Like a week.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You're like sitting down and have a
I think they
shot.
call it a millipede braid. Someone's going to tear me up on this, but I think it's like a millipede braid, and you can feel how stiff it is. Like, I did it over a long period of time.
Yeah.
It was almost like therapeutic. It was post-deployment, and needed some things to kind of just settle my mind and give my hands something to do. It was one of those times where I still felt like I had a pistol on my hip and I'd reach for it and it wasn't there. So to give my hands something else to do, I started making these. So this one's fit exactly for me. So obviously it's really comfortable, has that effect of being all one single piece. So if you ever need it in a survival situation, it's all right there. So given the distance that I ride my horse into the woods, you never know what you might run into.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
if you want to check that out,
Got the
I highly recommend
camouflage
Henry's.
look.
It's it's really smooth. That action on that lever is really smooth, even when it's loaded, when it's chambering rounds and whatnot. The whole process is just super smooth. It fires really consistent. It's very comfortable
What's
to
the saying
hold.
that everybody says? Everybody needs a Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the smoothest actions you'll ever find.
Butter. It's just butter.
It's just so pleasant. That
It
lever
is.
action.
Yep.
Motion. It's
Yep.
just must be like innate
American
in our
made.
body to do that.
Yeah,
or something.
it's something, man.
Yeah.
Everything that comes in that gun is American.
Yep.
They will not buy import stuff of anything to make a Henry.
Sights are adjustable, which is really nice. So it's a machine slot, right? Like a lot of this rear sight is.
Yeah.
So you need like a small brass hammer and brass tap, or maybe a rubberized or plastic face, and you just tap
Just
it
fun.
to get it to adjust the rear sight back and forth, or side to side, and then you have your elevation slide. So the sights are pretty adjustable. I mean, I'm probably 1.25 inches at 100 yards with 357 mag on that with open sights. So, I mean, it shoots pretty nice. I'm a big fan of those.
Yeah.
I plan to have a lot more of them. I just started having kids, and that slowed me down on my
That'll
fun
do
rifle
that.
purchases.
Yeah. That'll definitely put a halt to anything that you really honestly want to purchase.
Yeah, I like my kids more than I like guns, which
For
is,
sure.
I guess, saying something in and of itself. You like rifles, Rich? Yeah, just not your thing?
Nope.
Okay, no problem.
That's what.
I like that one.
You like this one?
Yeah, that's so cool.
Well, one of these days we'll get you out to the range, and I'll bring that one just for you.
That one's cool.
So,
I'm not.
I'll sit
Not
here
much
all
of a-
night.
yeah, no problem, man. Don't mind me. Go for it. You won't bother me a bit.
I won't put it back.
I had a AR that we built, and it was just, ever so slightly not quite there. It would cycle the rounds, set it in, and just be
Not quite.
it would dimple the primer, but it just wasn't fully seated. And I was like, all right. So I peeled it all apart, lubricated it all up, and then I just sat there just working that.
Yeah.
And I was like, It's just the good sound of a solid built gun, man.
Yeah.
And just nice. And that Henry's a lot that way itself.
There's some lever actions that started putting a safety down in there too. Most
Yeah.
lever actions don't have a safety.
Yeah, not interested in the safeties on levers. I like safeties on my upland guns because I walk around safe all the time, and then when I draw, I pop it off. And then my waterfowl shotgun, I like safeties on that. And then my hunting rifle, my 7 mag that I've got that I carry everywhere, I like the safety on that because again, I walk around safe all the time. And
But
then
just remember, safeties are man-made and they will fail.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Never trust them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I got shotguns one time,
yeah.
and it was in Loveland. And
We got to fix that.
hell, I lived in Greeley at the time. A guy bought a truck. He owned a gun range,
Uh-huh.
an indoor gun range.
Yep.
And he let us come down and shoot guns. And first gun I ever shot was a Gatling gun.
No kidding.
Yes, it was fun. That was the most fun gun. Well, it's not too many I've shot.
Right.
You got
Yeah,
that
yeah.
on us then.
It was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
What a great opener.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I go,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
just-
shoot. They go, let's shoot some guns. And I said, I want to shoot that. And he goes, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And 30 rounds goes really quick.
Oh yeah.
Like seconds.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
sit there, go like 2 or 3 cranks, and it's gone. Done.
Yep.
It was
Man,
pretty
those
fun.
are cool guns too, though.
And we got to shoot a couple 22 rifles and a Scorpion 9.
Yep.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Something like that.
What a tough gun to follow up. Too.
No kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
And
You
it was fun.
you just shot the 420 class bull elk
Oh, for
7x7 on your first outing by accident because you were aiming at the scrub bull.
Right?
That's what that in the world of guns. That's what you did. You kind of
First
just
time I ever did.
straight
And
to
the only
11.
time I ever did.
I was clearing snow with my skid steer for a fella, and I had just put it on the book of faces, and it was. I just did it for donations because I already have the skid, and it was the snow apocalypse a few years ago. You know, where Cheyenne was shut down. Yeah, so I just said, give me donations, whatever. I'll work the schedule. I'm not making any promises. When I get done with one job, I'll get to the next person. I'll take you first come, first serve, and that's how I did it. And this one fella says, "Hey, man, I said, okay, cool. I'll be there about X time." It was like supper time or whatever, and I was 2-3 hours late. It was probably 10 o'clock by the time we got to his house.
Oh man.
He's like, "Yeah, man, I need my dog run cleared out." And I was like, "You need a skid steer to clear out your dog run?" Okay. So I had to go around behind his house and get into his dog run, which was, I don't know, like a 3.5-4 foot fence. And the snow was level with the top of the fence. It was in kind of a low spot. It's up on the north side of town. And so the wind had drifted it in. So I had to dig out the gate to open the gate so I could get in with the skid and then clear out this dog run. It's wild. So we're walking around his outdoor patio so he can show me out back where the stuff is, We walk around the first corner of the patio, and I was like, okay. There's a bunch of 45 ACP casings laying on the patio. And I was like, okay. We took the corner, and there was so many casings on the patio, you could not put a foot down and not be standing on them. The whole distance from the corner all the way up to where he wanted to stop and talk was just 45 casings. Just brass. I didn't touch the patio at all. I was just on the brass all the way.
Man.
And I was like, the amount of money just in brass laying on just the patio. And I mean, it was from the railing to the wall and the whole length of that side of the patio. So I look over the railing and I look down on the ground, and the ground's sparkling with brass. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds. It looked like when we used to do door gun training and park the helicopter on the ground and shoot the 240 out the door, and it would just dump brass in a pile, It was like that, but off the railing, and just brass everywhere. And I was like, "You like 45, huh?" He goes, "Oh, you know guns?" And he perks right up because he was talking to me previous to this, but I didn't hear anything you said. I was like, "Am I gonna have to shoot this guy? Am I fighting my way out of here? Like, did I just walk into some kind of crazy cult? Like, what?" My mind is rolling on self-defense things, right? And I was like, "You like 45, huh?" And he perks up. "Oh, you like guns? Hang on." And he goes in a sliding glass door into what appears to be his master bedroom. There's a bed right there. And I was like, "Oh no, here we go." So I unzip my jacket and I unzip the pocket, and I'm standing there like this, and I'm just waiting because I'm thinking, I want to think the best of this guy, but this is Wyoming and it's 10 o'clock at night, and things could be weird. So he comes back out a couple minutes later, and of course, when your mind's racing, a couple minutes is an eternity. He comes out a couple minutes later, and he's got a Thompson submachine gun with a stick mag fully loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, please tell me you got the stamp. He goes, "Oh, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." So he's like, "You ever shot one of these?" And I was like, "Not one of those exactly." And he goes, "Okay." And he clink sticks that stick mag in there, and he goes, "Here you go." And he hands it to me. He goes, "We'll consider this your tip." And of course, while he was gone, I'm looking around, and I see that he's got steels at like 30 yards, 50 yards, 80 yards, maybe 100 yards. He's got some steels out there, and they're pie plate steels. And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead and shoot at him." And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to enjoy this." So rack it in, set it up, do-do-do, 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 tiddy-ding, tiddy-ding. And you could almost see the round flying because it's 45s,
Yeah.
You could almost see them flying. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. He's like, no, just hold it down, let it go. what I didn't tell him is I've shot a lot of automatic weapons. That's not the fun part for me. The fun part for me was that gun specifically. You know? So I wanted to see how it ran, what it sounded like, what it felt like. You know, that was cool. So I just kept doing bursts until clink, and I was like, oh man, that's cool. So I dropped it and cleared it and handed it back to him. I was like, man, that's awesome. He goes, yeah, we'll consider that your tip. I was like, okay. I'm asking donations, right? So clearly I probably would have done this for free if you told me you were hard up for money. I would have thought you were a liar, but I would have done it for free if you were hard up for money.
I mean, it's hard. You can just sweep up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like take a couple pounds of this brass, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 gallon buckets worth. We'll call it even, you know. So yeah, I get done doing all that, and I load my skid back up, and he comes out. He's like, "Well, what do you think?" And I was like, "I'm just asking donations, you know." And he starts flipping blue cheese. Hands it to me, and I just looked at him and I was like, "Man, that's way too much. Like that's way too much. You can't do that." Because I just honestly felt guilty. It was like an hour's worth of work. So straight skid time with a bucket, $150 an hour ish, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's maybe an hour's work. I was like, that's way too much. He goes, well, when I call you again, you gonna answer the phone? And I was like, yeah. you know that's gonna happen. He goes, well, then it's worth it to me. And I was like, well, then I'm not gonna argue with you, sir. I put the money in my pocket. And I was like, call me back when you need some more help. Yeah. The next one's on me, and I'll bring some guns we can shoot together. Good idea, he says. I've figured out who it is, like in a roundabout way, since because it's just Cheyenne, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, come to find out, he didn't care about that money. It was perfectly fine for him to throw that to me. But yeah, I show up to clear a dog run, get to shoot a Thompson submachine gun, and then he overpays me, and I get out of there at 11 o'clock at night. I was like, wow, this is wild. So that's one of my more Wyoming stories for town experiences.
Heck yeah. So who's going to introduce us here bottle of whiskey?
What do we got here? Joe Pickett whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this a little bit last week. We didn't get the podcast out in time for the release.
Technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That. So CJ Box and Flo, the first lady of Wyoming, Jeannie Gordon, came down and picked out 4 casks at Pine Bluff Distilling, and they bottled those all up. And they didn't bottle enough.
No.
Not even close.
No. They sent 84 cases, if my numbers are right, 84 cases to the State of Wyoming Liquor Division. The release happened at 10 o'clock.
Wednesday morning?
Was it Wednesday?
50?
I don't remember the exact date.
Yeah.
But anyway, all the liquor licenses that were interested knew about it. And them 84 cases sold out in less than 9 minutes.
That's great.
Liquor division. So then they had, I don't know what they have, 130 bottles or something like that for online sales.
Yep. I don't know the count for the online stuff.
Yeah. They've got a really neat program going on right now where you can just go to their website, you go to purchase now. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember the name of the company.
On that one.
Big Thirst.
He doesn't have to go anywhere.
Yep.
But Big Thirst will send a bottle of whiskey right to your doorstep.
Yep.
Right now. So that's a pretty cool thing that's happening out there at Pine Bluff Distilling.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be fair with it. So, like, you know, they sent some of this limited release for online sales as well. And the other limited release they're going to put online. So it won't be as big of a shipment for online sales yet. But they're trying to be fair to where your online sales will get a shot at all the offerings. So.
Mm-hmm.
Then they did a release at the distillery and had 300 and some bottles there for the release. I don't remember the exact number. But I kid you not, that was a busy night, busy day.
About
busy
600 people showed up.
We're thinking close to 600 people were out there at that distillery to get that one of those bottles.
I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah.
All I can say is I'm glad I got one.
It was wild. They were sold out in Cheyenne days prior. And there was phone calls coming in from everywhere. Hey, can you get me a bottle of this? Can you get your hands on a bottle of this? And when you bought it at the distillery, they had Joe Pickett glasses as well. Mm-hmm. And they sold them 1 per customer. 1 bottle, 1 glass per customer. So they could stretch it out and more people could get an opportunity. And there was people that showed up 3 hours early so they could get in line to make sure to get a bottle of it.
There were people stood in line for a long time out
Hours,
there. Just to make
yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I can
Yep.
tell you personally, I know one guy that came all the way up out of Denver
Mhm.
just to get a bottle.
Yep, there's a couple folks I had talked to from Utah. There's a couple folks from eastern Nebraska. There were some other folks from much further away, but I can't remember exactly where, so I won't take a shot at it. But
Yeah.
I
But
think
if
they
he
were
was willing
traveling for other reasons.
willing to
as
stand
well.
in the line, he would have signed your bottle, and
Mhm.
Jeannie
Yep.
Gordon was right there beside him, and she was signing bottles too, and it was quite a deal.
And it's good whiskey.
It is
Yep.
good.
Yep.
It is good. This is a straight rye whiskey that they have out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, they were going to offer I think it was a rye bourbon to Chuck, CJ Box. And he said, no, I think Joe's more of a rye guy. So when he picked, he's like, it's got to be a rye. And man, I was blessed enough to be there when they blended all four of the barrels together. And I was also there for the bottling, which was really cool.
Mhm.
And he tasted, after they blended all four of them together, he got first taste, of course. He grabs it and takes a sip. It's just silence. It's just, the whole place there's like 8 of us around. We were all just dead silent, like, oh no, is he thinking of a really nice way to say this is okay or terrible? Or like, because I hadn't tasted the blend before. I think maybe Chad, maybe Mitch, a couple of the guys that worked there, I think they had blended it already to taste it to see what it was going to turn out to be. But I didn't know, Chuck didn't know, some of the ladies that were there didn't know. So we're all, oh God, he hates it. He's good. And then he goes, that's just plain good. And I was like,
plain good.
okay, all right. So then he passes off the cup, and we all got our taste. And man, I got to it, and just the flavor profile is amazing. So I know a lot of folks aren't going to open their bottles. I'm a big fan of saving empty bottles and keeping a memory, kind of like a mount on the wall, right? A mount on the wall is not the live animal, but you're saving the memory. So I like empty bottles. But a lot of people I talked to the release night were, we're not opening this, we're not opening that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. But what I'm telling you is if you ever get around to it, it's good whiskey in that bottle. It's just plain tasty. So I like the profile of the flavors.
Yeah.
They run like a full course and then just fade off in, leaving you wanting another one. So that's what I like most about it.
Speaking of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So now that we're sitting here drinking this wonderful pick here, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Glencairn glass?
Did you do some research on Glencairn?
Oh, I thought you did.
Well, so the issue is that there's brandy glass,
There
beer glasses, there's wine glasses, and there was never a glass for whiskey.
Correct.
And so Glencairn was, I think he worked for a glass company or something. I think he kind of split off. I don't remember what year that was, 84 or something like that.
1980 is when he first tried to start his own company.
Yeah, and it took him a while, but he did a lot of research, and he worked with a lot of distillers in Scotland.
He did, yep.
And the master distillers over there, like 8 of them, I think it was.
Yep.
And they all come together. And he took this off of a Copita glass. It's a sherry nosing glass. I think it's called Copita. But he kind of used that as a basis for it, and then he made the Glencairn. So it's got the bubble.
Yep.
So you fill it up 1.7 ounces.
That one might be a little.
Yeah, it's a little heavy.
Looks a little full.
Yeah.
That's okay though.
Dean's not going
We can-
anywhere tonight.
We
so.
can swirl
The
it
center
around
of the
a little
belly
bit.
is about where you go
But,
to when you pour these.
But you're
but
supposed
it's
to.
wide there, and that's
Yeah, allegedly.
It looks a little bit short from here.
what you want to do with whiskey is, you get a little air in there, and you smell it with your mouth open, and it lets that aroma come up out of there, and that's going to be the first sensation of whiskey, and going to let you know kind of what it's like.
Absolutely.
And then it necks down to that really small little opening, which
And
introduces it to the palate. And,
I was just gonna say, do you know why that he necked that down?
I think that just to make it easier drinking.
Yep, he wanted a glass that was not going to be hard to drink out of, but yet as you drank it, it still gave the aroma like right to the bottom of your nose. So that way, as you're taking that sip, you can still get the smell and all the different aromas in your nostrils, and really be able to inhale that flavor of what you're drinking.
Makes sense. Makes the opening smaller instead of
Yeah.
like the old movies. You know, he
Right.
always grabs that crystal and it's about that big around.
Uh-huh.
Looks like you could kill somebody with.
Right.
But
Yeah. And, well, see, like with a rocks glass, right? You're not like all of your smell and your aura of the whiskey is not going to be right in the glass as you sit there drinking. I mean, you're going to be able to smell some of it, but you're not going to get a concentrated blast to your nose like this little 1.5 inch hole. You know, I mean, you think about that. You're going from a 3-inch hole to 1.5 inch hole. It's going to funnel it right up there to you.
There's a lot of people that like to add water to their whiskey, claiming that gives it a little better flavor. So with this glass, it also allows you to add a little water to it. I think Glencairn even makes a little, I don't know what it's called. It's a little stick.
Like a dropper?
Kind of?
Yeah. Yeah, it has the right amount of water that you would add in there.
But let me ask you this. The whiskey that we're drinking tonight, would you really want to put water in it?
only as ice.
Well,
You
you got a
cool it
bunch
down
of
a little
folks
bit.
sitting here that like whiskey.
Well, okay, this
So,
is true. Yeah,
that's
I guess I should
Incredibly
say that.
biased
Yeah.
opinion, I think.
The only water I'm putting in it is ice, and it's
No?
it's not going to be
I
water
don't
by
want
the time
whiskey.
I'm
I
done.
don't
So
want water in my whiskey.
Yeah.
I don't want
So,
ice in my
when
whiskey.
you like bottled in bond, this isn't bottled in bond, is it?
Which one was? Is it this one? Yeah, bottled and bond.
Okay, so it's bottled in bond. So
Yep.
that has water added to it to get it to 100 proof.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes out of that cask, it's probably 118 proof or whatever.
So should you add more water beyond that? Let's ask that question.
So I can tell you, I've done some barrel tastings at the distillery, and they'll take a sample out and they'll proof it down piece at a time,
Yeah.
and you check it.
Mm-hmm.
Your flavor changes significantly
Absolutely.
as you add water,
Yeah.
and there is a point where it starts to deteriorate.
Right.
So some will increase. For example, Teresa's F cancers,
Yeah.
they did not get better with proofing down. That they got
Worse.
less awesome.
enjoyable.
Less awesome.
They got less awesome. So
It's a kind way to put that.
yeah. But a lot of, pretty typically, when you proof them down from 117, 120, 122 coming out of a cask, and you proof them down, typically there's a point in there where they're just where you'd want them when you proof them down. So I believe bottled and bond has to be
100 proof.
100 proof. So regardless of what the flavor is, it's going to go to 100 proof.
Right.
And you get what it is.
That's just where you're.
Well,
So this is really good, even at 100 proof. But
for sure.
you might find 98 might be a little better,
Oh,
or
okay.
104 might be a little better, because the flavors definitely change. So
And we had Blind Man's Bluff.
Blind Man's
Mhm.
Bluff. Now that
Yep.
was straight out. That was straight
one-
out of the cask.
117.
117 and some change.
And I'm telling you,
That's
whoever
really good
I've had
stuff.
taste that immediately has been like,
You finish
can
it
I
all?
get a bottle
No,
of
the
that?
blind man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that
No,
was
And
good.
I said,
I wasn't drinking that.
What do you mean you're sick?
and
That's a
don't
perfect
drink no
cure-all.
more of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Call that
That's
Grand
good
Canyon
stuff.
coffee.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
in my house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
You get a little bit sick, you're having whiskey every night.
Yep.
Anyway, this glass has become the glass. I mean, it's comfortable
It is.
in the palm, and it's just a cool looking glass.
I gotta imagine it feels small in your hand, Colton.
Sir, there's a lot of
It's like
things
when I'm
that feel
holding a
small
shot
in my
glass.
hand.
right.
But
They
there's-
make those mini Glencairns, and you need an extra large.
glass. Oh, juice of God.
Exactly, yeah. Pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of different whiskeys that we're going to be putting in this Glencairn during this podcast. So
That's another thing I need to bring up is obviously what everybody's seen in the podcast so far is Pine Bluff's distilling whiskey, right? Are we going to be branching off and comparing other whiskeys to this?
I think we might have to.
We're going to have
Well,
to
we don't
eventually.
have to. This is your house. You can just say
We,
it.
well,
Just add to
we
your
might-
bust, fellas.
Well, the question is, does it have to really be a comparison?
Oh, that's true.
I've got
Some people
Jack
like-
Daniels came out with a single barrel proof rye. My buddy bought me a bottle of that as a gift, so I'd be willing to share that with this such occasion. I've got a bottle of Baker's that I really like. I'd be happy to bring over.
We went to Scotland. We made our own scotch.
We did.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I think branching out would be
I got
fun
one.
just
Yeah,
to see what other
absolutely.
stuff you guys
Yeah.
got.
for sure.
But I could drink this every
But you know,
day.
we're
I
kind of
don't have a
limited by
problem.
most
no.
distilling only makes, what is it, 5 different that are regularly available.
Oh well, maybe
we
that's
need-
what we should do. Now we've had some of the
Specialties.
specialties. Maybe we need to go back through and start
that we
like
need to touch base.
go
on.
back to the beginning.
It's
The
basics.
wheated bourbon, the rye
Yeah.
bourbon, the straight
Yeah.
whiskey, the vodka's amazing.
Their gin is really good
Oh,
too.
that's-
Hold on.
And the barrel aged gin,
That gin is so good. Oh no, you don't understand. If you've never had that gin,
it's not pine
you're gonna be a
trees.
gin man.
It's real
It's all
citrus.
pine
That's
trees,
what Mitch
bro.
got.
I turned.
I've had it.
I thought I was smart.
too.
When I turned 21, I liked gin, and I went to the bar, and she was like, "Well, it's your birthday. What do you want? I'll give you a shot for free." And I was like, "I'll take a shot of gin." Bad idea.
What?
That was
Probably
awful.
Bombay too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Beef eaters?
It might have been
some beef eaters, boy?
It might have been okay. I was like, I don't know what I asked for. That was not
That
what I
was not
wanted.
what I wanted.
She goes into the cabinet, pulls out a
Right.
plastic jug with a screw top. Glug,
Uh-huh.
glug, glug, glug,
At
glug.
that point, you might as well just take the bar mat and dump it in the glass.
Just drink the donkey juice right off the bar.
I didn't know military special ed gin.
Yeah, buddy.
Man,
Oh,
go to those exchanges. You're like, I got $10 to spend. You get
get
Oh,
a
Well, here, let's go this way. Seems how we're drinking whiskey now. What's the worst whiskey that you've ever drank?
Oh,
Like back in the
man.
day, bottom dollar.
what's the? It was I can see it. It was a clear bottle, plastic bottle,
Oh,
black
yeah.
screw top, white label, whiskey.
Oh,
You could get it in the exchange.
oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Was it actually military
It might have
special
been
or
military
military
special.
select or something like
Yeah,
that?
I think
Yeah,
it was.
it was god awful.
That was the stuff like you were like, I just want to get drunk.
Oh,
That's
Like,
you
no
grab.
kidding, if you were terrified that your child was going to be a whiskey drinker, you would give them that in hopes that it would scare them away from it forever. Like, that's the stuff you would use.
I'm pretty sure you could feel the paint on the car.
Oh.
That stuff.
It was,
that was-
no flavor. There was no flavor to it. It was just burn and regret. That's all that was in that bottle.
Yeah.
They made other flavors like vodka, but they were all the same.
Oh, God.
they all taste the same.
Yeah. The second worst I've had, so we do a bourbon and BS with some of my other buddies that doesn't matter. And he brought this bourbon from New Jersey. And he called it bourbon.
Uh-oh.
And he sent a photo of the bottle. And like, this has a beautiful color, right? Like,
Correct.
that
Oh,
barrel
yeah.
did some work on that perfectly
Yeah.
clear white dog that was put in there. This stuff looked like diluted sweet tea.
Oh no.
Oh, it's just Jersey. It's just Jersey.
And I was like, I hope that's the camera that did that to that whiskey because it doesn't look good. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's great. It's from New Jersey. And he's from Jersey.
Yeah.
Call him Jersey. So he's like, yeah, it's from New Jersey. It's going to be good. So he plays it up, right? When you
Yeah.
get there. I was like, come on, Jersey, break it out. I got to see. And I picked up that bottle and went, oh, God, it's real. Dude, it looked like diluted sweet tea. It was just awful
Man.
color. Popped that bottle. The nose on it was like paint thinner.
Ooh.
There's no character to it. You pour it in a glass, and then there was like no legs, right? Like when you spin it,
Yeah.
you got the slow drip that begins.
Right.
You spin that stuff, and it clears off like rubbing alcohol.
Oh.
And I was like, I know where this is going. Took a sip, right back in the cup, dude. Now I don't spit out my whiskey, but this stuff had
Oh.
nothing.
That's paint thinner. It's all right.
It was, yeah.
It's all right.
I was like, dude, did you swap whatever was in this bottle to something awful? Like, are you messing with me? He's like, no, I swear to God, that's how we bought it. And I was like, oof.
You drink this on the regular?
No, thank God. He still has that same bottle from almost a year ago. And he just plays jokes with people. I was like, hey, sometimes when you set the bar high, you got to know where the bar is. There's a low bar,
Oh,
too. And I was
sure.
like, that's pretty much my low bar now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's attainable everywhere.
Mine was
Unfortunately.
Kessler's whiskey back in the high school days.
Oh, yeah?
Because you could buy a half gallon for like under $20,
Oh,
man.
boy.
Yeah.
And that was my go-to.
I
Get that for you and Boone's Farm for the ladies. You
Oh,
can have
yeah.
yourself a Friday night.
Absolutely. The problem is when you drink the whole half gallon.
Yeah,
You
you got more headache than you can handle the next day.
Absolutely.
You
Or
think they
that
traded
same night.
recipes with milk turkey special?
Probably, I think so.
Recipes. Put some food color and rubbing alcohol and feed it to people.
Uh-huh. What about you, Dean? What's
You know,
up?
when I was growing up, I never really got into alcohol, first of all,
I gotcha.
very much, and especially hard liquor.
Hmm.
And so I was always kind of a beer guy
Mm-hmm.
when I learned to like beer. I loved beer, and still do,
Do you?
but I don't drink
Yeah.
much of it anymore.
We used to drink a lot of beer.
We used to drink, yeah.
What was the worst beer you'd ever had?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
You know, when I first started experimenting with the stouts,
Yeah.
Oh,
Guinness's was my worst.
Really?
But I've grown on it.
What was it that you hated the most initially?
It was just so stout.
Oh, okay.
so
The
bitter.
flavor itself,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting.
For sure.
Nice and
WeldWorks makes they have really nice beers.
They have really good beers.
Their
I really
beers
like
are
them. If I see a
extremely good.
WeldWorks on a label,
They just gave some to
I'm
Chad
probably
the other
gonna buy
day
that
that
beer.
I'm not a beer guy, but it's a pretty tasty beverage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I probably couldn't drink 6 of them, but I'm not a beer guy. So it's a pretty tasty
Yeah.
beverage. They just gave him some the other day. Just around the tri-tip.
Oh,
yeah.
Time
He had
thing.
two of them out
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I tried one of those.
As a matter of fact, I've spent a lot of money.
That
on
one was
WeldWorks.
kind of they're
Yeah,
IPAs, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm
Oh, I'm an
when I
IPA
drink beer, I
fan.
drink Coors Light or PBR or
Keep
Keystone
your
Light
water.
because I don't like beer.
So
So I
no
drink
drinking
as
water.
Exactly.
No
I drink as
Milwaukee's
far from
best.
beer as possible. Oh yeah, I'll eat the beast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Natty Light.
Yep.
No,
Whatever
Natty
doesn't
Ice
taste
is
like
the
beer.
one,
Natty
bro.
Ice.
Oh, that's got
Natty
some
Ice.
alcohol in it there. Now
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Woo.
I want to talk about worse things, man. I remember chugging 4 Locos on the way to work.
Oh God.
Yeah, you're just chasing a drunk at that point. That was not. It doesn't matter what the flavor is; they're all bad.
I've only got a few stories of keeping folks out of handcuffs, like
Is it
literally,
all
like
involved?
telling the cops I've
Yeah.
got it and taking them away
always a Four
before they.
Loko.
It's always
Yeah.
all of them are Four Locos.
One of my buddies, we were just like hanging out on the balcony. He's got his 4 Loco in his hand. He's probably had 2 or 3 at this point, which is an awful idea.
Yeah,
One's
way
bad
too many.
enough.
Yeah,
And he's just standing there and he's just chatting. He just straight down. I was like, dude, are you all right? And he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Just
just
I
keep
was like,
going.
no,
Yeah.
man, you're done.
Your brain's not working. You got to stop. Yeah,
You're gonna go get in the shower. You're like, we're done here.
yeah. Whoever sold those should have issues with their conscience.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Those were not okay.
Oh no, they're awful.
That's
They
like when
don't taste good.
I was stationed in Germany when Red Bull first came out, and
Oh.
Red Bull and Jaeger was like,
That's
that's what you did, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
drank them
Jaeger
all
bombs
night.
back.
You just drank Red Bull and Jaeger all night.
Yep.
Well, pro tip, that's a lot of caffeine, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not a good idea. And then you mix it with all that Jaeger, and the caffeine confuses your system that you've drank all that. Dude, you're just broken by the end of the
Yeah.
night. Like, you're so
Oh, for sure.
confused drunk. We would drink so much of that stuff over and over. I was early 20s,
Yeah.
dumber than a bag of hammers. So
Same.
we
That's what
just
I had.
chugged
to
that
do.
stuff down like it was a good idea. And oh,
You
boy.
ever drink Jaeger straight?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate it.
Why would I do that with Red Bull?
I hate black licorice, and I don't like bitter. I'm a fat kid. I like sweet, man. So like, I don't like Red Bull either, and I don't like black licorice. And now here I am drinking all night with my buddies, drinking Red Bull and Jaeger. Hey! So again, I revert back to I was in my 20s. I was dumber than a bag of hammers.
So all these stories are to say that we've progressed in life to like in the finer side
Moving
and
on.
not chasing the drunk like we used to.
Oh,
That's the main. That's what I was really trying to get at was
It's more about the enjoyment. Than
correct.
It is
Yeah, and the
after effect.
enjoyment and the fellowship of getting all together with a group of guys.
Yeah. You know, when I became really good friends with Chad out at the distillery, and I helped him build a lot of stuff there, and so seeing that process of how whiskey's made,
Mhm.
well, even back in the malt when they did malting, I loved doing malting tours and letting people sample the. You ever had malt?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I
You had
have.
malt? I've got some, I think.
Oh.
over here.
Yeah,
You really?
don't
Oh,
you?
boy.
Actually,
That's a little treat.
next time you're at the distillery, ask Chad if you can taste the malted wheat that's in the back
That's just a little bit of cereal right there.
because
Yeah.
they're in little barrels.
So this
They're
is malted
75.
barley, and they did a good job of malting out
I'm
there.
going for it.
But there was a problem with all the
Try it, Rich. Don't be
incredible,
bashful.
Rich.
It's not what you're expecting.
It's
It's malted
not, no.
barley.
It's yummy.
It's
They
good.
was all of the breweries, up the Front Range and everywhere else were already buying malt from somewhere, and they didn't want to change their recipes
Mm-hmm.
and mess things up. So I understand why they didn't want to buy from Pine Bluff Distilling
Mhm.
or Wyoming Malting. But man, they did a good job. Isn't that good? Put a
Yeah.
little milk and sugar
That's a
on that for
lot of
breakfast.
flavor, man. Just
You got grape nuts.
The one
It's
thing
grape
that
nuts. It's-
the
read
one thing
read the
that I
first
miss
ingredient on grape nuts.
out of the distillery was I
I've
used to
never
go there and
I've
help
never
them
eaten
back.
grape nuts.
Really?
oh yeah.
Yeah, I, like
Too,
because
too
where I
healthy
work,
for
I used to
me.
cancel a lot. There'd be no freight, so I wouldn't run. So I'd go there and I'd help Chad. And we'd bag 4 or 5 pallets a day,
Yeah.
and then that was it. You go back to the bar and have a few drinks and go
Mhm.
home.
I've never seen it made.
Yeah, they had
Oh, it's
quite
cool,
a system.
man.
Quite a
Yeah.
Quite a-
Just literally just walk out there and be like, hey, that guy Dean Bowman told me to come out here and see how this works. Use his name, not mine. And then they'll just take you back there and they'll show you all of it.
Dean
I mean,
could
they're
even
just-
give you a tour.
They're
Well,
phenomenal.
One of these
people.
nights we'll probably just do this podcast.
We will.
from
Well,
there.
we're gonna have.
Oh,
to.
that'd be cool.
That'd be
That'd
neat.
be cool.
We
We'd
were-
have a bigger
we were gonna
table
try
so
to
we
do
can
it
put more
we
guns
will.
on.
last night.
Right.
Yep.
Start
just
bringing
didn't.
out some options then.
There you go.
I can shamelessly plug my company then.
Ooh.
But anyway, until I met Chad, until I got involved out there, I was never a whiskey guy. And just being around him a lot and him just educating us on how to drink whiskey
Mm-hmm.
and what to expect from it and how to do it. Really changed my attitude on it. It's not a drink that you just want to shoot all the time.
Right.
Enjoy
No.
it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the flavors that you get out of it when you sip
Yeah.
it. And
I
Go
frequent-
ahead. Wow.
Flip a
Okay.
coin here. All right.
And that's the biggest misconception is when it comes to whiskey is you just want to down the
Yeah.
hatch.
Oh no.
The faster you drink your whiskey, the worse whiskey it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's good whiskey, you're not in a hurry to drink it. You want to have another one and
A
you
little
want to
bit
drink for a
cup
while.
of it.
For
too.
sure. Yeah, to
If
drown
you
the
mix
flavor
it,
out.
you're losing me really fast.
Yeah. But that's like what you're going with here is like if it like back in the day shooting whiskey was the way to drink it, right? That's the only way that you really knew how.
That's all everybody ever did.
Black
Shoot
label
it.
Jack Daniels.
When I met Dean, I came out here for the first time when they were here, and he was sick. I was like, "Oh, I know what'll fix that." So I don't know how much Coltisco we drank,
Oh boy.
KO90, that peppermint nonsense, but we were just shooting it.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
You
it's
get
been-
yourself in
We was
trouble
better the
real
next morning,
fast with
right?
that.
No,
No.
you weren't. So what we did the next day? We drank more. But my point is,
Well,
is
pretty
that we started out, it was just shooting it.
Oh, yeah.
We just shot that Coltisco to get it back.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was the same way until Chad left me at a barrel pick. Like he just left me there,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Oh, I got something to go do."
He's really good.
Yeah,
At that.
he's like, "You got this," and I'm like, "I've never been through one." Oh, you're fine.
What are
You're
we
fine.
doing?
Yeah, and it was like it was the Hell on Wheels rodeo one.
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there
A
and
bunch of local folks that mostly know whiskey.
yeah, and I'm sitting there and I'm completely lost.
Yeah.
I'm completely lost, and I'm just sitting there, and they're all like, "Well, there's aroma of this and a hint of this," and I'm like,
It tastes good.
"Yeah." And then
You guys
I
are tasting
get
stuff?
right, and then after like the fourth one that he left me on because he had other things to go do,
Mm-hmm.
I finally started like picking up on it, and I was like, "Okay." So, and you get the pad of paper, and you're writing
Mhm.
everything down, and then at the end, the one that I liked the most was the one everybody picked because that was just like we all had the same palate, kind
Kind
of.
of stands out a little bit.
And it's like, well, this isn't so bad. I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then he brings me in on another one with a bigger client, and I'm like, yeah, this is nah.
The other day, I'm sitting at the bar and I'm being friendly. Clearly, I'm talkative, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
sitting there, there's a couple sitting there, and we're chatting it up, and we're just chatting, Chad walks by and goes, "So you want a tour?" Pats me on the shoulder and
Oh,
walks
yeah.
off. And I was like,
Come on, man.
"Well, I don't work here, but I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express. You guys want a tour, or are we just going to sit here and drink all night?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'd love a tour." They got all excited, and I was like, well, here we go. This is what it's like to be fed to the wolves. I caught both axles of that bus when it hit me. So,
Yep.
yeah, we went and did a tour. And thankfully, Aaron walked in, and the only part that I'm most ignorant about is the actual distill process, the distilling, the way they do their stuff and why, you know.
Well, they got all these numbers that they talk about.
Mhm.
I can't
Yeah,
get
the
those numbers
temps
straight
and
in my
the-
head
yep.
and stuff like that. Like,
Mitch
see,
is really good about
just
weighing
make
out
a
the grain.
beer here. You know, it's not like
Yeah.
the beer you drink, but it's beer.
Yep.
And then they take it from there and they take it in, put it into the fermenters. And
So I was going to hit him with the 2-minute portion of that because I talked about all the other stuff where I was more knowledgeable. And I was going to hit him with the 2-minute piece there, you know, and move on. And Aaron walks up. And I was like, remember what I told you? If you ever find an expert, listen to him, not me, because I don't work here. Here's the expert.
Yeah.
Let's ask him.
Yeah.
And Aaron's like, you want me to do the rest of this part? And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going back to the bar.
I'm not a lot of things, but I know when I'm out of my element.
Aaron's really good about that.
Yeah.
If he sees you doing a tour, he'll come help you out. If he sees you needing it and struggling.
Yeah.
with it.
And he's real good about doing, you know, the whole still process and such with tours.
Yeah,
They really do a great job with tours there, period.
Yeah, well,
Because I've been on a bunch of tours,
Oh,
and
yeah.
instead of making it like super structured and organized and on the time,
No,
blah, blah,
you just get right
It's
out there
like-
in the middle of the meet.
yeah, which one of
that's
the
a good way to
employees,
explain
other
it.
than the bartender, just about any employee will take you back there and walk you through a tour of whatever speed you want to go.
Yeah,
The
which
more
is,
questions you have, the longer they'll take with you.
yeah, and it's great.
Yeah.
I've been on a ton of distillery tours across
Yeah, me too.
the U.S. and in different countries. We
Yeah.
went to a couple in Scotland, and it's like, well, this is our structure. This is our time period that you
Mhm.
get to be in this room, and then okay, you're gonna all right. Well, we've hit our time limit here. We're moving to the next room because
Mhm.
right behind you is coming
It's
somebody
another group.
else,
Yep.
which
Yeah,
is
you gotta
a
keep
little bit unfortunate, but I get it. You know,
Yeah.
you got to churn people out.
Yeah, it's
but
business.
yeah.
Well,
But here at the distillery here in town, it's great.
Yeah.
They answer all your
that
questions. You get to
other
wander
tour
around. You get to taste things.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's
that other
great.
tour catches up with you, you just invite them
Yeah.
on in.
Yep. What I do is we're in the mill room where they clean all the grain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll swing open the mill that grinds it all down and just grab a piece of it and eat it.
The powder.
Yeah, because it's
Flour.
just
No, yeah.
corn and grain,
Yeah.
wheat, rye, malt,
Yeah,
barley.
make a loaf of bread while you're back.
Yeah, and I was like, this is what they turn it into. And I eat it, and everybody's like,
Oh,
I was like,
my
it's-
goodness, man.
it's literally food grade grains
Yeah.
that they're
Yeah.
using. So,
Yeah.
and it's all local. It's not like it's been hanging around. It's not covered in mold. It's not
Everything
terrible.
comes from within 15 miles
Yeah.
of the distillery.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just take it in my palm of my hand and I go, if you want to, try it. And if you don't, that's okay. And then when everybody's done getting some, I eat the rest of it. Because, I mean, that corn
But
stuff,
there's a little
man,
bit
it's
for later.
sweet. Yeah, it's sweet.
Jared's walking out of there like a chipmunk.
Honestly, it's like a
Pockets are
cinnamon.
full.
It's like the cinnamon challenge, dude, because that stuff is so dry.
Oh, it
By the time
is.
It's milled
You're
out.
right, yeah.
You get a mouthful of that, you're like,
Where's
are we
that
at the
drink
tasting
at?
yet? Ugh. Oh boy, it just draws all the moisture out of your face.
Anybody have anything that they want to add before we close this dude out?
I'm just thankful to do another one.
Mm.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate you guys. Oh, is it fair to mention that pretty much all this money was donated?
Well, yeah, good. Yeah, that's
So-
actually a good thing to bring up.
On the back of the Joe Pickett bottle, it says, "We hope you enjoy the bottle of Joe Pickett bourbon as much as we enjoyed selecting it. We're especially pleased that the proceeds will be donated to the Wyoming Hunger Initiative, a truly worthy cause." Signed, CJ Bob. So the Wyoming Hunger Initiative is essentially wild game and such donated meat to those in need. And Flo is kind of the lead on that for the state of Wyoming as the first lady. So that's a really cool deal. The processor I use for the beef that I sell participates in that, and the whole program is really cool. So proceeds were donated to that. I believe they wrote a check for $12,500 and
I did not
presented
see
it.
that check.
Yep. It's in the window at the big one, the
check,
display check is in the window at the distillery. So it's $12,500 they donated from the bottle sales. I don't know if that included the glasses or not. Regardless, $12,500 of the initiative was a significant chunk of, because a lot of the meat's donated.
That's a lot of processed meat.
Yeah, that's a really long way to go for a lot of stuff that's donated already. So that's a really cool deal. Thought it was worth noting. That's not all money just going to CJ's pocket.
Yeah.
So him and Mrs. Gordon did a really good job
Yeah, absolutely.
giving back to the community for that. So I feel like we should put
Well, let's also bring up what's happening next weekend.
Oh, we have the
Corgi
Corgi
Derby.
Derby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I promise I will have this out.
The Corgi Derby.
I've been
yeah,
staying up till midnight every night trying to figure this computer thing out. So
You'll get it. I got faith in you.
I had to order a new battery because the computer will not do a firmware update because the battery's shot. So you got to leave the computer plugged in, and it won't do what it's supposed to with the battery done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all you guys out there that have corgis, bring them to the distillery.
Or mutts at the end, right? Because
Yeah,
at
they do a
the
mutt
end of
race
it,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, do a mutt race too. So it's the same time as the Kentucky Derby. We get the Corgi Derby done first, then they have the Kentucky Derby up on the big screen, so you can watch that.
And it's for raising money for
It's the dog pound, isn't it? Or the
what is it?
Animal shelter.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah,
animal shelter.
I
Right?
don't-
Animal shelter. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. This will be my first Corgi Derby at the distillery, so I'm looking forward to going.
There's gonna be a lot of people there.
Good.
Yeah, they set up a track out front there, and they've already
Good.
sold out all the VIP seating, so you can't get that.
Well,
I'm sure I'll be
sold out
there with a
pretty quick.
security shirt on.
yeah. I'll be there probably busting glasses and helping out the bartenders because that seems to be
What I
what I'm
usually
getting good at. So
I know Brittany's working that day too.
good.
So
Good.
Yeah, it's there. There was I think over 300 people showed up there last year.
yeah,
Oh, good.
So expect that, if not more.
If
Yeah,
not
at
more,
least
again
that.
this year, and
yeah.
Man, they've been killing it on
Corgis.
fundraisers.
And
and that's
Yes.
also a fundraiser for the. Well, you already mentioned that
Yeah.
fundraiser for the. They do a lot of about every event they do out there
It's fundraising.
is fundraising for something.
I think that I'm really excited for the September one coming up.
I'll be going elk hunting.
Oh, our CVMA one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to set a date. It's going to be the first or second weekend of September. So last year we did a Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, which I'm part of. And that fundraiser just in one quick night was $5,500, and all 100% of that money went back to veterans in Cheyenne.
Yep.
Or in the surrounding area. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward to that. We were invited back to do it again this year, which I'm incredibly thankful for. It went off real smooth last year.
It did.
Raffles and auctions and cocktail discounts and the whole nine. Some of the most amazing brisket was smoked.
Oh, don't be saying that.
Yeah, it was delicious. There was a fella that did a lot of the cooking and cutting.
Well,
Made it really, really good.
this year I've already talked to Chad about this, and I think that we're gonna have the smoker right there at the distillery.
Yeah, that's a much better idea.
So that
Yeah.
way you guys can come there and see and smell,
Mhm.
and you can get smell-o-vision up close and personal,
Yeah.
and really see what's happening.
We did a pretty good turnout last year.
You
Hopefully
guys
we
did
can
great,
bump it a
man.
little more
Honestly,
this year. And
and you
just keep
did
pushing.
great. As,
Running it.
Yeah, absolutely.
it was pretty easy. I mean, Chad and Teresa are excellent hosts, and
Yeah.
their bartenders are phenomenal. So it's really easy when the whole team works really well at what
Absolutely.
they're doing. So yeah, lots of thankful for that one. Hopefully we can do another one that easy. And then I'm sure there'll be more between
Oh, yeah,
September and,
for sure.
and the Corgi Derby. So
Yeah.
Facebook and website. Keep an eye on those guys. They do lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're big fans.
Bring in a lot of food trucks.
A lot of food trucks. Yep, they had one out of
Yeah.
Kimball for the release event.
Some entertainment. That they bring
Yeah,
in.
Winnie Brave. They're
Winnie
amazing.
Brave's- Winnie Brave's the
They're
best ever.
amazing. Yep, they got a couple other folks that they give a call and have come out and play, and they do a great job. They don't overpower the crowd, so you can still talk, but yet they play phenomenal music.
Mhm.
They
And it's a mix of everything.
He traded out his suitcase for a regular drum this year.
yeah, really moving up.
He plays drums with his feet.
Yep.
Plays a good bass guitar and
Yep.
plays drums. He used to have a suitcase.
Yeah,
And, it was the best.
and she strums and has amazing
Amazing
vocals.
voice.
Yeah.
My God. I would love to just sit and listen to her voice with just an acoustic guitar, no electronics, and just her voice is amazing. She's such an amazing singer and just a generally good artist. She takes all kinds. I think she sang Gin and Juice the other day, and you didn't
That's
notice
awesome.
it until halfway through
That's
the song
awesome.
was done because she spun it to be like a Western style version of that rap song. And like,
All right.
unless you know Gin and Juice and those words and you didn't even catch on. And then some of the other folks were singing it, and I was like, is this?
Hang
What
on.
the? And then I was like, oh my God. So she does that with a bunch of different songs, like songs that you know, and she just, like it's her own. It's amazing.
Right.
Authentic would be a word I would definitely throw her way
Yeah.
because it's just good.
So there are a couple
Music.
Canadians that come down.
Yep.
They tour the
Yep.
U.S. and I think they're at the distillery a couple times during the summer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a good one to look for.
Yeah.
Winnie Brave.
They got a lot of good musicians out there. Jim Wilkinson
Oh yeah,
comes
he's
down there and plays.
and he always hangs out afterwards too, and he's quite the personality
He's
himself.
good,
So
yeah.
he's a good fella.
And as we do this podcast, we will make sure I will do a better job of getting the podcast out in an orderly fashion. I was hoping to have it out before the 19th. Computer said no. So I worked through that, and hopefully it's actually on right now.
Oh yeah, that'd
But-
be cool.
God, Guns and Glencairns.
Yep.
Check out the last one.
Yep. If you'd like to lead us out in prayer, Dean.
Yeah, let's finish this baby up. Father, just thank you so much for this wonderful time we've had with these guys. Just the conversation that we've had that it's just hopes touched everybody a little bit, and not necessarily that they educated them, but we've had fun with trying. And I just pray that as we go forward, that we would just see the importance of looking to you and constantly staying armed and always ready and always clothed with the righteousness of Jesus, and just always wearing that armor of yours, ready for that final trumpet blast that will gather us all together with your Lord, with you, Lord. Just thank you so much for this time, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.